Hey guys, welcome back. Drip Coach here, where we don't trust, we verify, and operate with integrity and transparency. Today, bringing up a clip. It's kind of old from Mark Moss, where he talks about the. It wasn't a tweet. Well, I guess it was reposted via a tweet, but it was Russian's financial prime minister equivalent, right hand to Putin, discussing how the U.S. plans to leave everyone holding the bag with the debt. And Mark breaks this down and explains how that's kind of spot on, but not exactly the way that it's intended. And I'm bringing this up now, even though it's 14 days old, because of what recently happened with the U.S. buying pesos versus a U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve buying Bitcoin, and the whole Black Friday crypto collapse from the tweet that took place. So all this is relevant because it all ties in. So let's take a listen to this initial clip.
At the recent economic forum, one of Putin's closest advisors dropped a bombshell. He said that the U.S. is preparing to use crypto and stablecoins to secretly devalue its entire $37 trillion debt. Now, he claims America will put that debt into a crypto cloud they would then use to reset the system. So basically, leaving the rest of the world holding the bag. Now, this is Anton Kobiakov, right? We're talking about. He's a senior advisor to Vladimir Putin for over a decade. This isn't some random official. This is Putin's guy. And you know what? He's actually right, but it's just not in the way that you would think. You see, Russia thinks we're going to print digital dollars out of thin air, but that's not actually how this works. But the devaluation part, the reset part, that's absolutely happening. Now, real quick, I'm Mark Moss. I've been tracking these monetary resets since the last one. And what's about to happen with stablecoins and the Genius Act that was just passed through is way bigger than what Russia even understands. So let's break down what's really going on. You ready? Let's go. All right, so let's look at exactly what Russia is saying here. Back at the Eastern Economic Forum, again, Anton Kobiakov. And remember, this is Putin's senior economic advisor, right, for over a decade. Now, he's been in the...
Oh, sorry about that, not prime minister, senior economic advisor for over a decade. So he's clearly got some clout and not just pulling rabbits out of his hat when he's talking about what's happening on a macro level with finance.
Room for every major Russian economic decision. He's laid out this theory. Again, he said the U.S. is trying to rewrite the rules of the gold and crypto markets. His exact words were that America's ultimate goal is to push the whole world into what he called the crypto cloud. Now think about that phrase, crypto cloud. He's saying once the world's money is digital, once it's in stable coins, once the U.S. moves its $37 trillion national debt into these digital assets, and then boom, devalues it, wipes the slate clean, while everyone else is holding the bag. But here's why this matters. This isn't just some conspiracy theory from our enemies, right? He's been architecting Russia's economic strategy since 2012. So when he speaks, it's not speculation. It's what Russia's leadership actually believes. And like I said, he's kind of right about devaluation. He's actually dead right. The U.S. absolutely plans to devalue the debt. Now, we've done it before. We've done it actually multiple times. But I think Russia just misunderstands it a little bit, right? They think we're going to create stable coins out of thin air like we print dollars. But that's not how stable coins work. It's actually...
And also in that statement, so moving things into this crypto cloud, I also believe this is setting the foundation, that framework for the global reserve, global central bank digital currencies, whatever you want to call it. Like I've told you guys multiple times, they will go to a 3 to 5 to 7 currency system globally. And then that will usher in the digital ID system and a one world currency. That is my belief. I don't think that happens in the very near future, but I believe this is all setting the groundwork, like we've seen with digital IDs and stuff going on in Europe. Like I told you guys, digital IDs here in South America, all of your information being captured by multiple tech companies, i.e. Meta, Tesla, X, Google, Amazon, you name it, all of that is there and being captured. So, and you think that it's in its own little silo. It is not. It's all being shared and creating a digital U footprint so that they can monitor things. And this putting the debt into the quote unquote crypto cloud is just a step in that direction. So I believe, again, not only is Mark spot on, but so is Vladimir Putin's chief financial executive advisor. And it's going to happen sooner rather than later. And the last man standing, or the last freedom money out there, is Bitcoin. And they're trying to, I'm not gonna say control that, but they definitely want a slice of that upside of that pie as well. that's the good thing about Bitcoin. It can't be controlled. So no matter how much Michael Saylor owns or BlackRock owns, they don't get to vote on how the network is going to mine blocks or anything like that. That's all done by the miners and open source. And something, just a segue, even if there is a issue like going on right now with knots and Bitcoin Core, there could be a fork. Now, granted, that kind of sucks. We had the wars a couple of years back, but that just lets you see that the people, the public, decide what's going to happen. I'm not sure how well this will be picking up now. All of a sudden, a finger decided to come out right next to me and bring his speaker and start singing. So I have no idea what this sound like, so you may or may not see this. But either way, let's play the next clip from Mark.
Actually way more powerful. So let me show you what's really happening. 1933, Executive Order 6102. President Roosevelt, he doesn't ask Congress. He doesn't negotiate. He signs one piece of paper, the executive order, and boom, confiscates America's gold at $20.67 per ounce. And then what happens? Overnight, he revalues it to $35 an ounce. Now, if you do the math, that's a 69% devaluation. One signature, 69% is gone. Think about what that means. You had $100 in savings, and now it buys you $31 worth of stuff. With the government's debt, they just got 69% cheaper to pay it back. Now, it's not the only time it's happened. It's happened many times since then. If we fast forward to 1971, President Richard Nixon closed the gold window. He basically rug pulled the entire world by removing the gold backing of US dollars. And since then, the dollar's lost 96% of its purchasing power. 96%. Again, 1985, the Plaza Accords. We had 5 countries get together and agree to, again, devalue the dollar by 25% in 2 years. And it worked. A 25% devaluation. It was coordinated. It was planned. It was executed. So when Russia says we're about to reset the system again, they're looking back at history, right? They see the pattern. They understand why it has to happen. Now, about every 40 to 50 year cycles, they see this coming due, and right now, we're due. But what they're maybe not understanding so much is that we don't need gold confiscation this time, right? We don't need international agreements. We have a new mechanism, and it's already in motion. How do you devalue dollars when you're not on a gold standard? Well, it's simple, right? You just continue to expand the money supply. If we look at the M2 chart, just from January 2020, we had $15.5 trillion. Today, we have $21.9 trillion. That's a 40% expansion in just 4 years. 40% in 4 years. If we look at everything else, gas prices up 50%, home prices up 50%. The median home in America costs 50% more. Pretty interesting. Property insurance up 70%. Gold, 35%. Bitcoin, it's up over 250%. See the pattern? When you create $6 trillion, new dollars out of thin air, but you don't create any new houses, you don't create any new oil, any new anything, right? Then the prices start to adjust. The dollars start chasing the same goods and prices go up. So your grocery bill, food's up, right? 25 to 30%. Steak, milk, eggs, it's all up 30% plus. Now that's not inflation, it's devaluation. Your dollar buys you less. And here's the key. That $37 trillion of debt, it's still $37 trillion on paper. But what does $37 trillion buy today versus what it bought in 2020? It buys 40% less, right? The government just cut their real debt burden by 40% without paying back a single dollar, right? Without having to default, without having to negotiate with anybody. They just printed their way out. But here's the problem. The world, of course, sees this, right? It's not that China and Russia don't understand this. It's why China's dumping treasuries. It's why Japan's dumping treasuries. It's why foreign ownership of U.S. debt dropped from 34% to 23%. Sort of like when Nixon had to close the gold window. So the U.S. needs new buyers of debt. Cue it in, enter the stablecoins. Russia.
So that is the playbook. And like you said, not only did they devalue that multiple times in the past, and they don't need to do it again with gold now, but they still can. Remember, they can revalue the gold and then buy Bitcoin. They could put I forgot what it's called, but like basically a bid in on strategy and absorb that company, buy them out. There are so many different moves that they can make. And speaking of kind of adding dollars into the system, they literally just purchased 20 billion dollars or pesos worth in Argentina. Now, this is like a loan to own, as Jack Mahler says, because Argentina will not be able to pay this back. So this is just a bid to get access to rare earths because of what China recently mentioned about basically trying to strong arm the entire globe with rare earths, and Trump putting out his tweet about 100% tariffs on China because of that. So make no mistake about it, it's definitely going to move in that direction. And there will be additional dollars dumped into the system. And the only way for you to benefit from this is to buy Bitcoin, stay humble and stack sats. It's going to be volatile all the way up. And there's going to be boostable buying opportunities as we move forward. But make no mistake, this is the only life raft off of this sinking Titanic ship. All right, smash that HBO special, help a brother out, like, subscribe, comment down below, and until next time, live daily and achieve your impossible. See ya.